Okay, so I think that funding for business skilling programs that build these kind of female business ecosystems is really important. And I think that should include all these different areas, things like understanding about releasing your IP too soon, because if you're coming from academia, you know, your aim is to publish and to get grant funding. And as soon as you've released that, you know, that information into even in an abstract book, you know, you can no longer patent. Also training, you know, within those programs, things like leadership training, and all the way through to board level, so that so people are kind of prepared and they start to get those skills and they can look to their mentors and role models and learn from them. So I think that's really important, like the skilling up of people, and that could include, you know, may well look like an accelerator, you know. And from my experience of accelerators, and I've sort of travelled around and looked at and met people from Techstars and Y Incubator, I think they're called, and I think they are predominantly male, just because that's the nature of the beast. You know, it's mainly men who are in this sort of this sector. So I think maybe, you know, that kind of an accelerator that focuses on all of those things and is a kind of a defined program would be really beneficial. I would certainly love to do one of those even now. And the second thing, I think, better access to investment funding, and it keeps comes up over and over again. But I think, you know, my experience not even that long ago and still now, I've actually started a second business, and that second business, you know, I'm in the process now of kind of building up the business case to go for investment, and so, you know, I'm kind of back in that scene again, and it's just mainly men. There are some of these kind of female focused angel investor programs, but they're quite small, they're quite few and far between, and some of them are quite niche. So I think access to investment is really key. You know, you're just not going to have a chance of a success, you know, starting and building and growing a business unless you can get that investment. So maybe the training around, you know, how to position yourself, how to pitch, and how to value your business, and kind of, you know, because also it's been shown that women, you know, ask for less money and get less money than men. So I think that women need a whole lot of training and support in that area. So they would be my sort of two main recommendations: skilling up and access to investment.
So I think in terms, so I will focus on the role of the TTO in particular, and I think it comes back to being proactive. So I think TTOs need to think about how they can be much more proactive in this space. I think it's a mixture of internal communication with departments and with heads of department, but also, you know, reaching across to equality and diversity teams where you know there are obviously institutional policies, but it needs to be more aware of the role of the TTO, and the TTO needs to, you know, inform them of what they need more. And that relates to, you know, we've talked about the KEF, the Knowledge Exchange Concordat, which is coming on stream now. You know, that is all about leadership, and it's about institutional policies and processes. So commercialization needs to be part and parcel of that institutional attitude to equality and diversity. And then I would agree actually with, you know, specific programs for funding. I think that's where we traditionally see a gap. You know, we've called it the valley of death for any kind of spin out. But I think the specific issues that there are with, you know, female funders having less investment and getting less of the funding that they need, I think it seems like there is a specific gap there that Innovate UK could really step in and help to plug. So I would say that was a recommendation.